What's up, Ramblers? Your favorite CEO is back. And before we begin today's podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode. And follow Assistance HQ and Offsource HQ across all platforms to stay up to date on the latest content, updates, and more. And remember, if you need a virtual assistant, visit us at offsource.tech. Now, before we begin, a word from our sponsor.
Oldest question in the book, right? How do you get clients? Where do you get customers? So where do I find my customers, right? I want to go into business. I want to sell something. I want to sell my service. I want to sell a product. You have your idea. You have something. And I had a conversation earlier this morning. I'm not going to say anything about it, but I had a conversation earlier this morning and it had me thinking. Everybody needs to know how to get customers, how to get clients, how to sell. Essentially is what that is. Where do you find the people that want your product and how do you get them to buy your product? Now, I can only tell you what I've done from experience and what other people have said from their experiences that have worked. So there's only but so much that can actually be done per se, especially when you have like a budget and everything. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do is, who are your customers? You want to define them, right? The only way to get customers, the only way to really go out and get your clients, get customers, is to decipher, to find out, and then define, strictly define who your customers are. What does your customer look like? And you can't just say everybody because, oh, everyone wears a shirt, so who wouldn't want to wear my shirt? People that don't care about your shirt would not want to wear your shirt. Why would someone care about your shirt? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would someone care about your jeans? Why would somebody care about your hoodie? It doesn't make any sense, right? You have to give them a reason. So you cannot please everybody. Pleasing everybody means you please nobody. So find a group of people, and for starters, stick with it. Because let's be real, there are people that don't wear polo. There are people that don't wear clothes from Walmart. There are people that don't wear Gucci. There are people that don't wear Louis Vuitton. There are people that don't wear Balenciaga. There's people that don't shop at Target. There's people that don't shop at, the dollar store or whatever. So you have to find your target and serve them. That's the very first thing. Very, very first thing is you have to find out who I am going to ask to make a purchase. Define them. What do they like? What do they not like? And when it comes to tweaking, when it comes to feedback, when it comes to what the market liked and didn't like, only listen to those people. Now, how do you sell and get them? You're like, oh, Angelo. You're like, oh, wait, I don't know how to call myself Angelo. That sounds weird. I've never done that. Oh, Angela, like he's like, oh, AJ, how do you? I've already, find out who I want to sell to. I want to sell to people like me or XYZ or people like you or whatever it is. You've probably said like, oh, I've gotten past that. I know exactly who I want to sell to. Right. One, I'd say I beg to differ. Slow down. Do you really know who you want to sell to? Like, do you really know who is your ideal customer or client? Do you know what they look like? What they do, the spaces they're in. Are you inside their head? Why do you feel that this person is your ideal client? Because they have money? Can't just say, oh, people with a lot of money because that like luxury things. That's not people. That's not a base. Oh, just people that like luxury items. That's why do they want your luxury item, right? So you have to really hone in on your target audience. Who it is that you're going to try and sell to? Who it is that you're going to try and offer up this service and everything. The next part is after you very much define them, you have to talk to them. You have to be in conversation with them. You have to know them. You have to, now that you've defined who your target market is, you have to get in the weeds with them. You have to very much so understand what their pain points are, what their talking points are, what they're interested in, because what they're interested in is what's going to make them interested in you. And if the people that that you're trying to target or don't know you, then there's no reason for them to inherently be interested in you. So you have to find a reason to be interesting. You have to be interesting to these people, right? Ralph Lauren, he's a polo player, right? Wears polo. I don't even know how that came about, like where we call shirts that aren't even polo, just polos, like just the style of the shirt is, I guess, called a polo or whatever, right? But No polo shirts like a Ralph Lauren polo shirt. And that's because the man's played a sport. He has like built up this personal brand and people like to wear it, right? Same thing with anything. People build up a brand, a reputation. I feel comfortable in this. I look good in this. I pick up girls and chicks in this, right? You have to have a reason to be interesting to people, right? So if, for example, in clothing or in anything, right? But clothing is the easiest one because we think of that's what everyone wants to do. How can you make that interesting to you? Now, when it comes to other things, like if you were, say, like a nail tech, or if you sold headphones, or if you sold a new kind of a phone, right? What is interesting to the people who want to buy it? Do they care about quality? Do they care about quantity? Do they care about, color? Do they care about feel? How does it look? You have to understand who wants your product and why they're going to want it, right? So in the case of AllSource, I decided to say, you know what? I am going to focus on small business owners from underrepresented communities who do not make a lot of money, usually cap out around $75,000, may or may not have a team. And if they do have a team, it's a very small team, up to, usually up to no more than like 4 or 5 people, right? And they're on the lower end. On top of that, we've kind of narrowed it down, even though we know that we're an internet company and that we can service the entire, US kind of thing. We've worked and we've done some research and everything, and we've narrowed it down. We're going to only focus on the New England area. Why? Because it's close to home. I am a firm believer in being the king of your local area, right? And so in terms of internet, we're just going to say our local area is the New England area. And so we are focusing in that Northeast New England kind of area for where we're going to run a lot of our ads, right? So now that I've gotten who it is that I'm trying to target, how am I going to be interesting to them? Well, if you need office work, then we're probably interested. Then you're probably interested in us. However, if you don't need office work done, you're probably not interested in us. So how do I make what you need interesting? How do I make my value proposition interesting? I put out free value, free information. I establish myself as someone who understands the solutions to the problems that you have. I don't just have the solutions, I understand the solutions because this is just what I do. So, for example, I want to talk to business owners. I want to understand the problems. I want them to understand what it is that I know and how I can help them, and my reputation and building brand and making myself interesting to them. How do I make myself interesting to them? I'm going to networking meetings. That was the very first start. Going to networking meetings, letting people know what I do. So that's the very first thing that has to happen. You have to find a way to let people know what you do, and you have to make sure that you tell the proper people the same thing. You have to tell the proper people what it is that you do. It's almost that simple, really. When you tell the proper people, business owners, in my sense, business owners from underrepresented communities that have issues with their office work because they are a very small team and don't have a lot of time and are probably parents and everything. Very specific. But how is it that I bring them value? How is it that they find me interesting? Because when I go to these networking meetings, I'm talking about the business and I'm talking about myself. Now they know about the services, so it's tickled the ear. They're interested. That's how I get people interested. You gotta talk to people, talking to people. Hey, how are you doing? What is your business? Why? What are the pain points in your business? So I've talked to enough people in networking. Remember when I said you got to get into weeds, you got to talk to your customers, you got to know them. Now, none of these people are really my customers, but when you talk to those people that are potentially your customers, that are of your target market, when you talk to people that are potentially your clients of your target clientele, you get to understand and see overlapping. What are the frequent problems? What are the frequent solutions that people already have, right? So that's the thing. When people have problems, they have solutions. And if there's no readily available solution, the smart person will say, you know what, I'm going to make some kind of makeshift solution. So before we had all these kinds of softwares and everything for bookkeeping, people were doing it the long way. And when computers came along, people were doing Excel sheets, right? Now we have all of these matching programs and softwares that make accounting boatloads easier. But the original solution was using an Excel spreadsheet. And that's how you got good, right? You just use an Excel spreadsheet. So people already have some kind of solution to what their problem is, at least a temporary fix, something to alleviate it, make it go down less. Your job is to show what you have, your solution, as the reason to switch. Oh, I'm interested because this is hard. What you have makes it even easier because there's no real solution for this right now. And I'm doing just this little flimsy workaround, but I'm interested in whatever it is that is going to be a permanent fix to this particular problem. And that's how that goes, right? So as you are in the weeds with your people, with your customers, with your clientele, you have to find the common grounds. Where can I overlap and start my speech to resonate with as many people as possible, right? Because saying that you have a problem keeping track of your invoices, that may resonate with some people, but saying that you have a problem with all, like, every aspect of your bookkeeping, that could be a different problem because that can include the billing, that can include invoicing, that can include accounts receivable, that can include so many different things. And so when people hear, oh, you help with all of these things, oh, that's interesting. Why? Because I need X, Y, and Z. And so that's what's interesting to the people, but they have to know. And so the very next thing in order to get like your clients, where are you going to get your clients, how are you going to get your clients, is one, knowing who those clients potentially could be. The next thing is going into those areas, talking to them, figuring out what the overlapping problems are, and understanding their language. How do they talk? What kind of words do they use? What do they like to, all that kind of stuff. The words, the language, the entertainment, where they hang out at. Heck, I know where small business owners like to hang out at. Before coronavirus, small business owners that I would be talking to, they like to hang out either late night at the office because that's where they're going to be, or they're going out getting something like hanging out at a bar. But if you cannot go find a group of people that would be your potential market, you need to keep digging. You need to look further because you can always find a hangout spot for where your target group of people are. I'll give you an example. If you were selling skateboard sneakers, where would you go find skateboarders? The skate park. If you wanted to talk to bankers, high-level business people, where might you go? Networking events, the golf course, country clubs, conferences. These are all places that you can go and talk to those kind of clientele and customers and things of that nature. If you were opening up a food place, right, and you wanted to talk and you wanted to get in front of people that really, really enjoy food, where could you go? Facebook groups, cooking classes, cooking schools, food streams. Feel me? If you go to like, Twitch or something, or like I'm sure they got like some kind of cooking streaming thing. But you have to find out where your people are and then go there and then talk to them and interact. The next thing is you have to get your product in front of their face, right? Talking to them about their problems and how you can best discuss things with them is completely different than getting your product in front of them and then saying, do you want to buy this? Is this something that you'd be interested in? And I think that's a lot different. And the part that people really, really want to know, I guess, when it comes to how to get clients, how to get customers and everything, they want to know, how do I get my product or service in front of their face? And then how do I get them to say yes to purchasing my product or service, after I've already now just asked them? Well, you have to do the very first two things first. You can't ask someone to just flat out buy your services or it just doesn't work like that. No one's going to purchase your product. No one's going to buy it, especially when you don't know what you're doing. You know why? Because nobody's going to trust you. Nobody's going to know. You feel me? Like, think of it like this. What is the reason for someone to even purchase?
If they don't know you, they don't trust you, they don't know how good you do, any of that, right? They don't know how good your quality of any of your clothes or your services are. They have absolutely no reason to trust you. So you have to give them a reason to trust you, whether it's through talking to them, whether it's through someone else telling them and giving a referral about how good your services are, whether it's about, enough social proof where you were seen on, like, say, Good Morning America or something. But that's why the first two steps are important, because asking somebody or asking a random person is the easiest way to catch a no, to get a no. To be denied, the easiest way is to just simply ask a random person, hey, you want to buy this? No. That's the easiest way to get a no. But if you know who your potential target market is, again, back to the skateboard example, and I want to sell a pair of skateboard sneakers. I want to sell a pair of bright red, crispy Air Force Nike skateboard sneakers. I'm not gonna go walk down the streets in New York and just ask people, hey, you want to buy these red skateboard sneakers? No. I really don't want to go to a skate park and just kind of walk around and ask people, do you want to buy these red skateboards? Do you want to buy these red skateboard sneakers? It's more likely you'll get a yes, but still probable that you can get a no. However, if you went around to the skate park and every single person that had more than average worn sneakers, right? So they're not fully beat up or anything, but they're clearly worn, right? They're clearly a little bit worn down. And you went to the skate park and asked everybody with semi-worn down sneakers, hey, I have these red sneakers that are for skateboarding. And they're better than what you like. They're brand new, they're crispy and everything, right? They're not that expensive. And they're sponsored, they don't got to be sponsored by you. You don't have to be sponsored at all. I'm just trying to think of like something to make it a little bit interesting. They're 10% off today. If you buy them right now, I'll give them for you, 10-15% off or whatever. So what has happened? You've now identified who your target audience is and you know where you can go. You then from there have gone to those places and you're talking to them. You understand their pain points, what they like, what they don't like. These are crisp sneakers for skateboarding. So you've gotten that down. And on top of that, you've made it interesting. You're not sponsored or anything by anybody, but you're offering a 10 to 15% if they purchase right now. So you've done all three of the things. You have identified your target audience. You have spoken to them, found their language, found their pain points, their issues. Their pain points are, their sneakers are worn down. Their talking languages, use words like crisp and fresh and clean, right? So you're selling these crispy, red, fresh sneakers at 10 to 15% off if they purchase right now. And so now you've made it interesting. That, my friend, all is how you sell or get a customer right there. Those three steps: find your person, find out what they like and how they talk, and then, make it interesting for them. Make it interesting. All three in that order. You can't go out of order either. You can't go from step 2 to step 3 to step 1. Go step 1, find the people. Step 2, talk to people. Step 3, make it interesting to people. Those three things in that order. You find your customers, you find your clients. Now, I'll tell you how I did it, right? So people was like, oh, how'd you do, DJ? So this is how I did it. I thought, okay, what's my business, right? What am I doing? Service. What does my service do? Helps with office work. Who needs help with office work? Business owners. Okay, so done. I know I want to work with business owners, but that's too broad of an audience, AJ. You can't just work with business owners. We got to narrow it down. You're right. So the easiest way to narrow it down: I'm Black, so I'm going to work with other, underrepresented and Black owned, brown owned businesses. Right there, underrepresented Black and brown owned businesses. There we go. So business owners that are Black and brown or underrepresented. They're probably going to be between the ages of like 30, 35 plus. So you don't have to go anywhere under 30. That's another classification. You don't got to go under 30. Now, I don't want to deal with super, super large businesses because they probably already have admins. They probably already have a pipeline of employees, even same with medium size. So I'm going to deal with small businesses. But even small businesses have employees with admins and all that stuff. So I'm going to focus on small businesses with no admin helpers, no social stuff, no social media manager, things like that. So now those are those business owners, right? So I've narrowed it down to all these businesses, a very, 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 very niche and specific business owner. Step one, find my person. Done. Business owner, Black or brown, underrepresented community, 30, 35 plus, doesn't make a lot of money, has a very small team, admin work and all that other kind of stuff. You feel me? So the next step, talking to them. Now, this was a little bit more difficult, right? My customers aren't just readily available in the street. You have to know who is a business owner. And so I'm thinking, how do I meet business owners? Where do I get to go talk to business owners to understand their pain point? How can I talk to them, ask them questions, see what their issues are, what kind of problems they're having? Lo and behold, networking meetings. Why? Because networking meetings are ways for business owners to, one, talk about their business, so I get to know who's the business owner, what their business is from the jump. On top of that, they have asks. Hey, my business needs this. My business needs this. Hey, networking group, can you help my business find a social media person? Can you help my business find a plumber? Can you help my business find me a personal electrician? You know, they're making asks for their business. So now I get to know their pain points and their problems. And on top of that, it's networking. So I get to talk to them. That's given. So now I'm talking to business owners about their problems. Not only that, I'm talking to Black owned and underrepresented business owners and getting into those spaces about what their problems are, why they're the problems, how come they're not even solved yet, and what are you doing in the interim or in the remote or in the transitionary period to keep things afloat or plug the hole and everything. So not only have I found those people, I'm now talking to those people. And then what do? I make it interesting. I have a whole lot of content. I ask people to come on the podcast. I establish myself as the person with the information to your solution. I don't have to say, hey, I have the immediate solution. I just say, hey, I know where you can get answers. Usually that's from us, but if it's not from us, I know where else you can get answers from. And that, my friends, is exactly how you can go out and get your clients. Now, you can't really do that in a day, and I don't think that you can, right? But I'm sure someone out there is gonna be like, I'm gonna do all that today, right? So if you can find the very first two, the talking to them is the hard part. That may not be able to be done immediately. But if you can find out who your people are and where they reside, you've already cured like 3 out of the 4 steps, because step 2 can be kind of broken down into 2, which is like locate them and talk to them. So if you want, you can like break down step 2 into like 2 separate things, but I definitely would say, feel me, define who they are, go find who they are, talk to them, and then make it interesting. If you can make the talking interesting, you've doubled up, and you probably even have a better chance when you go to just make it regularly interesting. But that, my friend, is how you get clientele and customers. And that is exactly what I was doing, right? So now that I did 1, I did step 2, didn't know both parts of 2 because I'm talking to them. I made it interesting. Now I'm asking for, clients and everything. Now I have clients. This is where I get clients from. Now we're running social media ads and everything. And so that is really those 3 steps to getting clients, those 3 things right there. For the quick rundown, for those that you were just hopping in, this is how you get clients. And 3 simple steps, and step 2 can be broken into two parts, right? Step 2 is 2 parts. Step 1, find out and define who your target audience is. Step 2, point 1, find out where those target audience resides. Networking meetings, group chats, space rooms, whatever. Step 2, point 2 is talk to them, find the overlapping pain points, all that kind of stuff. Step 3, make it interesting. And the unnecessary step 4, I don't know why I should have to say this, but I'm saying it. Make the ask. Now you make the ask. Now you ask, can you purchase this? And that, my friends, is really where my formula on where you should get clients, where you can accumulate clients, customers, whatever you want to say. That's just what I have going on. I wanted to get tactical with that because I thought that would bring some value. A lot of people have been asking, oh, how do I get clients? And that is a big thing that's been coming up, especially when talking to business owners, is like, social media and how they can use social media to get clients, right? So the same process applies for using social media to get clients. One, identify who they are. Two, where are they? Now, the only difference is online. So where online are they? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Twitter? Are they on Snapchat? Are they on Instagram? Find out where they are online. And then make it interesting online. Go there, talk to them. Oh, let's give a step. Go make it interesting online for them. Content. That's how you make things interesting online, or talk to them via, virtual chat. That is also technically online. Then you make it interesting. So you can't be boring in your conversation. You can't be boring in your content. You can't be, dull in your conversation or content. You got to make it interesting for them, not for you, for them. You can't think from your own perspective. You got to think from your client or your customer's perspective, because that's exactly what we do. And that's exactly why we have content. That's exactly why we have this entire video. This whole content corner is dedicated to bringing value to you guys, because I have to make it interesting. And so that's what goes on. You feel me? So that is the art of getting customers and clients and everything, So I thought I would just have that out, because things have been different, and that's been one of the biggest kind of questions I got. Maybe I might do another tactical thing about how to put together like a YouTube video or something, because everyone makes their own decisions on what they're going to do, right? I don't know, but I thought that was pretty interesting. And so I still got a bunch of stuff to chop up. I did not realize how I was up here so long just talking about how to get clients. I told myself that I would be telling people that I would want to talk about making decisions. And just a brief thing about making decisions is one of the topics that I tossed up on the board. I said, oh, let's talk about that. Don't stall. That's my thing. Don't stall. I stalled all weekend and I got not much done. And so stalling is literally procrastination, and it is the death of a lot of successful businesses. Procrastination and stalling is the death of a lot of successful businesses. And I can say that over and over until my mouth is dry. But that would mean I'm procrastinating instead of going to actually get that kind of work done. So I'll catch you guys on the flip.
Hey Ramblers, that's it. Podcast is over. Don't leave yet though. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, and follow us on YouTube at OffSource HQ. We'll see you next time.